guys, welcome to my channel. So this is going to be my first official YouTube video. It's going to be a story time about our pregnancy, of our miscarriage, everything like that. I do want to say before starting the video, this video will be probably slightly graphic for some people, so if our ears are sensitive to period talk, blood, graphic details, any of that, then I would not suggest watching this. So basically, I want to start from the very beginning of what happened, finding out I was pregnant. I think it was the beginning of April, and I had no symptoms, no crazy symptoms. So with our daughters, I had symptoms to a T. They were both the same symptoms for both of them. Just like every symptom possible with them. It was clear signs like, you're pregnant, girl, something like that. But with this last pregnancy, I didn't really have any symptoms. I actually had thought I was going through hormonal imbalances. I thought I was going through early menopause. Pregnant was not in my mind. I tracked my ovulation, everything, to know when to be careful, of course. I've tracked myself for years, and I've always been good. All of a sudden, it just completely messed up. So my last period was January 30th. Of course, come April, I'm still where's my period? I'm going through hormonal imbalances, early menopause, what is going on with my body? Just kind of panicking a little bit, but I was not thinking I was pregnant. I started feeling very lightheaded, and I was feeling I was getting headaches, and I just I don't know, just really weird in my body. Every time I was hungry, it's I needed to eat right then and there, or I was gonna throw up. That's literally how I felt. I did feel nauseous a couple of times, but I thought nothing of it. Literally thought nothing of it. And so many people can think oh, you just didn't want to think you were pregnant, or oh, you're just ashamed or whatever. And no, that was not the case. I literally had no thought in my mind that there was a child growing inside of me. That's just what I thought, I literally was hands down, I'm not pregnant. I was getting headaches, and I never get headaches. I'm not a headache person. With my previous pregnancies, I've never had headaches. I just don't get that. I know I'm not pregnant. I know my body. I don't feel pregnant, nothing like that. I was 100% sure I was not pregnant. So anyways, a couple of days passed, and my husband was going to the store, and I was like, hey, maybe we should actually check if I am pregnant or not, just so we know. If I'm not, then I schedule a doctor appointment to see what's up with me, because that's not like me to not have periods. And I do want to say that for January, my period was off for 10 days. That's another reason why I wasn't thinking I was pregnant. But anyways, he went to the store, and he came back with the clear blue pregnancy test, a line test and a digital. So it was a 2-in-1 box test. And immediately, from the start of me dipping it, it was already moving across. And the first window, how there's two windows, a pregnant and a control line. The first window went past, it was already positive. It didn't even get to the control line yet. And I was oh my gosh, so I dipped the digital just to verify, which there was no verification needed. And immediately, it was probably within seconds. Usually those tests can take a good couple minutes. I'd say within 30 seconds, it came up pregnant. And I was oh my gosh, I called my husband, and we were completely shocked. So a couple weeks came by, and it was my first ultrasound. I thought I was gonna be 11 weeks based off my last period, but the ultrasound was showing 9 weeks. So not much, just 2 weeks, difference from whenever everything could have happened. I don't know when anything could have happened, because what I was tracking, I guess, was not what I should have been tracking. I have no idea. I was just completely shocked. The way I was feeling, I didn't really have many symptoms at all. So I was kind of maybe I'm still very early. Maybe this just happened, I don't know. I just was thinking stuff like that. So when I get there and I see a 9-week baby, I was oh my gosh. We told our daughters, we showed them the ultrasound picture, we told them that we were having a baby. Our oldest was really excited. I think I was 13 weeks and maybe 6 days, 5 days. I don't remember. And I went to hear the baby's heartbeat. And the baby was moving, you know, the heart was strong, it was 170, you know, everything was perfect. And 6 days later, that's when we had scheduled our 14-week ultrasound and videos for the gender. Our family's on live. I have my in-laws on the live video. I have friends. With the live streaming, they're able to see what's going on through the ultrasound. They can't see like me, my husband, and the doctor, but they're able to see what's going on through the ultrasound. Sorry, my air just kicked on. I hope you can hear me. So the doctor puts the ultrasound thingy, I don't know what it's called, on my stomach. And as soon as she put it on there, I didn't see a flicker. And so I was starting to panic a little bit, you know, inside my mind, and my heart was racing and I was kind of panicking. And she's like, you know, the baby's curled up in a little ball, and my husband's like, you know, wake up, you know, like just playing around. And she asks me, she's like, how far are you again? And I was like, 14 weeks. And she's like, when was your last doctor appointment? I was like, I was just there Thursday, which was 6 days ago from then. I was like, I was just there Thursday. She's like, and you heard the heartbeat? I was like, yeah, you know, it was at 170. And she's like, okay. And she kind of paused for a second. And in my mind, I'm like, my heart just like dropped. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, my family's on live, they're watching this, you know, I hope they don't notice it, you know. And I was kind of freaking out. And she tells me, she's like, well, I'm not seeing what I need to be seeing at 14 weeks. She's like, there's no heartbeat. And she tried looking again, and there was still nothing. She was like, you know, if you feel comfortable going into the ER due to COVID, or call your doctor, see if they can get you in to double check. And I just started crying. And she was like, I'll give you guys a refund, because I believe we paid $89, so she was refunding that back to us. She did give us a picture still, which is one of the pictures we have up there. We didn't find out the gender then. You know, I think she just wasn't comfortable doing that, knowing that there was no heartbeat. So totally understandable, you know. So my husband's doing the refund stuff, and I called my friends and family that I have in a group message for the live video streaming. I called everybody, and I was just crying. I was like, there's no heartbeat, you know. And I see my sisters crying, I see my mom's crying. Sorry. And I told them there's no heartbeat, you know. So my husband came outside, and we're just hugging each other, and he's like, just call them back, you know. We're just hugging each other, and I'm like, everything was okay. Everything was just fine. We were just there. And it kind of made me think a little bit, because I'm like, this whole pregnancy, from the time we found out to my first ultrasound to hearing the baby's heartbeat, I've always been scared. What if there's no heartbeat? You know, what if there's no heartbeat? What if tomorrow there's no heartbeat? You know, I don't know why I just kept thinking that the whole pregnancy. After having our first, we had miscarriages before having our second. And even with our second, I was never worried. I was never concerned. I was never like freaking out, like, what if? You know, I never had any of those thoughts come through my mind. So with this one, it was just weird to me, like, why am I thinking this all of a sudden? Why am I so worried about my baby not having a heartbeat, about my baby not living? Why am I so worried about this? We just sat in the car, and we were just holding each other, and we were just crying. We were just so confused and so hurt, of course, you know, of course. And I told my husband, I was like, why would God give me a baby and take it from me 14 weeks later? You know, getting into my second trimester, the day that I've been so impatiently waiting for to find out what I'm having. Why would you take that from me? I was so mad. I was so hurt more than anything, confused, and I just didn't understand, like, why. That was my huge question, was why now? You know, and I know that there's people that go through this further on. Even that, like, it's so heartbreaking. No matter how early you are, no matter how far you are, it's so heartbreaking no matter what. And I know we've all, if you've been through this, I know you've questioned why me, why now, why when my child's 39 weeks, you know, whatever, why when my child's 14 weeks, like, why? It just doesn't, at the time, it just doesn't make sense, and it does hurt, you know, it really does hurt. And I know, even if you've never been through this, you know, seeing someone else or knowing someone else, you know, it hurts. So that whole night, you know, me and my husband, like, I just kept crying. I was so hurt. Like, why would you take this baby from me after 14 weeks? Like, and I get that's not that long of a time like some people have it, and I understand that, but that doesn't make my situation any less heartbreaking, you know, anything like that. So I just told my husband, you know, I was like, this is the day that I've been waiting for, and you know, I get the complete opposite than what I wanted, you know, I literally the complete opposite than what I wanted, and I just couldn't stop crying. So I finally fell asleep, and even when I was napping, I just kept waking up, and every time I'd open my eyes, I was just crying all over again. Like I couldn't believe what was going on. I couldn't believe it. So the next morning, I went into the doctor's office, and she checked, and she was checking for a while, and I see her head's turning like this, and I look at the screen, there's still nothing. I see my baby, and she didn't tell us the gender, you know, nothing like that. And I asked her, I was like, so what are my options? And she said, you being 14 weeks, I would suggest a D&C. And if you don't know what that is, I would Google it. But yeah, she suggested that, which I understand they have to give you all your options. And I understand that that could very well be an option you choose to take or an option that you have no choice but to take. I completely understand that. I was like, you know, what are my other options? I don't want my baby, I don't want that, you know what I mean. I don't want that happening to my baby. You know, this is a full baby. Like, what are my other options? And she's like, you could wait it out for 2 weeks if you'd like, to try to pass the baby naturally on your own. Or the other option is the medication that starts the process to basically delivering your baby. So I was like, let me go home and talk with my husband. We both do not want a D&C, you know, and she's like, you know, if it doesn't happen naturally, if it doesn't happen with medication, you do have to end up getting a D&C. And I was like, okay. I came home, talked with my husband, and kind of decided, you know, we wait out the weekend, see if anything happened naturally, and if not, we would start the medication. So I called the doctor, and I was like, you know, this is what we have planned. And she was like, so the medication, just so you know, you have to be admitted for that, especially because how far you are, it would be safe because there's going to be a lot of bleeding and a lot of cramping. She's like, so you would have to be admitted for that. It could take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. So between that time, you're looking at being in the hospital. If there's still no progress, nothing's happened, you haven't passed the baby, then we would have to do a D&C. So me and my husband talked about it. I told him, I was like, I'm not ready. I don't feel my body is ready to let go of the baby just yet. Not me myself, not that I wasn't ready, my body, because I had no spotting, I had no cramping. I was like, I hate to go into this by Tuesday and do the medication and in the end have to get a D&C because my body was not ready to let go of the baby. If you've went through this, then you know exactly what I'm saying. So I talked to my husband and I was like, I want to wait out the 2 weeks. You know, if you are completely on board with me, I want to wait out the 2 weeks. She said it's fine. She said there's no risks. There's nothing like that. I'm very healthy. Everything's okay for 2 weeks. My husband was like, that's fine. You know, if you're going to be okay, you know, from a medical point of view, if you're okay to wait 2 weeks, then that's fine. We'll wait out the 2 weeks. So that's what we did. We waited out the 2 weeks, and during those 2 weeks, I can honestly say I was so strong. To this day, I'm so proud on how strong I was during those 2 weeks. With talking about it, my daughter asking me questions about it, with knowing I'm carrying a child that's no longer moving or heartbeat or nothing like that. Like, I was so strong, and I am so proud of myself going through that. And I had so much support from my in-laws, my husband, my daughter, so much love, my family back at home, like so much support everywhere that it just helped tremendously get through that for those 2 weeks. So the 2 weeks came, my doctor wanted to see me. She's like, I want to see you to face-to-face discuss the medication process, you know, or D&C, whichever you choose. So I went in to see her, and we're completely prepared for bleeding, the cramping, the possible DNC. I was like, we're completely aware of all that. I was like, but we want to do everything that we could before jumping into a DNC. And she was okay with that. You know, she's like, whatever you want to do, you know, we'll go from there. So she called me the next day and she let me know what I'm gonna do. So she was like, I'm gonna send in 4 tablets. You're basically going to insert those tablets as far as possible, and it could take 4 to 6 hours before you start cramping and feeling anything. She's like, but you'll do that Monday night before bed, insert those. Whenever you start to feel very uncomfortable, then come in and we'll start the process from there. Monday night came and everything like that. We dropped our girls off. We came back home and we just made sure our bags were packed. I told my husband, I was like, okay, I think it's time. So I inserted the pills. I was already 1 centimeter dilated, plus that morning I had some spotting. So I was like, you know, hopefully like everything works out. Like, I put the pills in and we laid down and my husband was really tired. So I was like, you know, you go to sleep and I'll wake you up if anything becomes serious or uncomfortable. So he's sleeping. I started cramping a little bit, like within 10-15 minutes, I'd say. I had went to the bathroom and there was blood. And I mean like dark red blood, like a lot. So I was like, okay, you know, I just calmed myself down and I was like, okay, you know, things are starting to happen. This is it, you know, let's go through this and just keep hoping and praying that I get to see my baby. So I laid back down and I was just cramping a little bit more. Every time I went to the bathroom, then I was like bleeding more and cramping more. So it was probably, I want to say 3 or 3:30, I'd say. And I was starting to get pretty strong cramps. They felt like contractions, like Braxton Hicks contractions, but like every 5 minutes. They just felt like contractions probably. I've never experienced contractions. I had C-sections with both of my girls, so I've never experienced contractions. I've experienced Braxton Hicks, but not full-on contractions. So they felt like Braxton Hicks or contractions, whichever, they felt like that, like every 5 minutes. So I woke up my husband and I was like, I'm getting uncomfortable. So immediately he got up and walking to the bathroom, I'm having to stop just because of the pain. I'm holding on to things, like trying to grab stuff. I'm like, I can't sit up straight, like everything. It was just, that pain was insane. I sit on the toilet and I was like, something just came out of me. We're looking at it and he was like, I don't think that's the baby. It's too small, smaller than what the baby would have been. And I was like, maybe it's the placenta, you know? So I was like, I have to reach in, I have to look at it, I can't flush this down without knowing that this could possibly be my baby. It was the placenta, but there was nothing in there. So my husband's like, okay, we gotta go. So we hurried up and walking to the car, I was wanting to cry. It hurt so bad, like I was in so much pain. I've never experienced that much pain in my life. We got there and we went to the checkout area where you sign all these papers. And that lady there, I will say she was very sweet, but she took her time. I was in so much pain. I was literally like cussing and holding my husband and like trying to keep myself up. I didn't want to sit down, and she's taking her time, like trying to like make us laugh and smile and joke, and she was so sweet, but I'm like, I'm in so much pain, like come on, what are you doing? I felt like something was gonna come out of me, and I was like, I need to go to the bathroom, can I use this bathroom? She was like, I prefer you don't. I was like, well then I need to get in a room. I finally was in the bathroom, and I was sitting there for, I want to say probably 20 minutes while my husband spoke with the nurses outside and letting them know everything. The whole time I'm sitting there, I'm just in pain, I'm crying, and I'm talking to myself, but to my baby. And I'm just like, I love you, like I can't do this, I need a DNC, I'm so sorry, you know, everything. Because I was like, all I wanted to do was meet you, and I was in so much pain. I was like, I need a DNC. I need a DNC. This hurts so bad. I've never experienced this in my life. I was bleeding so much, you know, so I was just like telling my baby, like, I'm so sorry and I love you. And I want to say maybe a few minutes later, my husband came in and grabbed me, and he's like, babe, you gotta get up. Like, the nurses need to hook you up to an IV. They need to talk with you. They need your information. And they can't do any of this until you come sit on the bed. I went over there. She's asking me questions. I'm telling her everything of what happened, the doctors from the start, everything like that. We were talking for maybe, I'd say 10-15 minutes. Then she had left, and I think maybe, I'd say probably 5 minutes came by, and I started feeling like pressure a little bit. I told my husband, I was like, I feel like something's right there. I was like, I need to use the bathroom. So he got me up and I went to the bathroom, and when I was sitting down, I was like, I freaked out because I was like, something is gonna come out, I could feel it. And so he called the nurse back. She put the toilet head under me. She's like, if anything comes out, just let me know. So I let my body relax. Like I said, I've had C-sections. I don't know what it's like to have full-on contractions. I don't know what it's like to feel like you have to push. I don't know what that's like. But I'm sitting there and I'm holding my husband's hand, and I'm just like, I just felt this need throughout my body to push. Everything came out. They called the nursing right away, and my husband's like, you know, I think she passed the baby. So the nurse came in immediately, and she was looking at it, and she was like, it looks like you did pass the baby. She's like, it actually looks like you passed everything. She's like, I want to let you guys know that it does look like your baby has, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's gastrochesis. I don't know how to pronounce it. But basically that's when the insides in the stomach and stuff like that are growing on the outside. So she's like, it does look like the baby has that. She's like, and this could have been why this happened, or it could have just been something that happened. And it was crazy to us because we were just talking about that the day before. I don't know what made us talk about that specific thing that can happen with people. I don't know what made us talk about that. So it's just kind of crazy to us. But she like brought him over to us, and once I looked at the baby, I was like, it's a boy. And my husband's like, no, it's not, it's a girl. And I was like, no, that's a boy. I was like, look it, you know? I was like, look it. I like took the picture to zoom in, and because it was kind of hard to see, you know, he was so tiny and everything like that. And so I zoomed in, my husband's like, okay, yeah, that's a boy. I was like, I told you from the time of finding out that I was pregnant, I was like, this has to be a boy. I don't really have any symptoms. I feel completely different than how I felt with both the girls. The nurse even came by and she was like, yeah, that's a boy, you know? And so I was like, oh my gosh, like, I felt so, I don't know what the right word is, like, I felt like just at peace. I felt so relieved that all I wanted and waited for, that short period of time that I found out that I was pregnant, was to know the gender of my baby. And I'm so, to this day, I'm so thankful. I don't even know the right words to say, that all my hoping and praying and everything, I was able to see my baby, and that's all I wanted. I didn't want my baby to have a D&C. You know, I just wanted to find out the gender and, you know, everything like that. And I'm so thankful that everything happened the way that we hoped and planned. She let us be with the baby and everything, you know, one-on-one. And my husband's like, you know, Amias? And I was like, Amias. And like, this is still Amias. Amias is a name that we've wanted since our youngest was, before knowing if she was a boy or a girl, that's the name we wanted. The whole pregnancy, this time around, the whole pregnancy, we were like, if we have a boy, his name's still gonna be Amias. It was kind of hard that it was a boy. You know, it was hard on both of us, of course, more my husband. Because you don't know what you're gonna have after this. You know, you don't know if you'll keep having girls, you don't know if you'll ever have another boy, you know, so it was pretty hard on both of us. And a social worker came in and talked with us about cremation, everything like that, you know, and we got all that figured out. And then she was talking to us about children we have, about speaking to them about pregnancy loss or child loss. And I did tell her, you know, I spoke with my 5-year-old. I let her know of what's going on, as real as I could be with her for her age. The social worker actually gives a pamphlet, and on that pamphlet it says age groups and ways to tell your child about pregnancy loss. And that whole pamphlet is literally to a T on how I explained everything to my daughter. So I know I did everything correct on telling her, regardless of her age. And the nurse had a ultrasound tech come in to make sure that everything had passed, which everything did. They did a COVID test on me, which came out negative. And I do believe everything happens for a reason, and for so long I questioned why. And seeing that, I just felt and feel and believe that that's why my son is no longer able to be here. We do have a beautiful angel watching over us, and you know, not a day goes by where I'm not thinking about him. I am very, very thankful that everything went as we hoped and prayed for and planned and everything like that, as far as delivering him peacefully, to have him cremated. That was a huge worry of mine. That's all I wanted. You know, that's, besides knowing the gender, that's all I wanted. So I'm glad we were able to do that and have him home with us forever. I really hope that this video can help any of you going through this. It doesn't matter how early you were, how far you were, it is heartbreaking no matter what. And that's what I believe. Many people don't believe that, but I do believe that no matter what, it was a baby, it was a life, it was everything that people prayed for or planned for, or whichever, and it still means everything to someone that they lose their baby. We did do this little shelf, just putting him right with our family photo. So it came out very sweet, very cute, just very meaningful, and it just shows, you know, that he's our baby. We love him forever, and he's always a part of our family. That's all for this video. I do plan on doing more videos. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell notifications to be notified when I post a video. But other than that, thank you guys for watching.